Hello?
You're freezing up. Yeah, you froze up a while ago.
Sorry about that.
You were driving, you were on a trip. Every time you go in the back seat, you also come in
So
the back seat.
each time where I switch seats, he would switch seats too. Um, one of the time we stopped at the gas station, he basically came in and he did it to me and my best friend. To where it's like he pulled me to the side and was like, "I'm feeling something in your spirit," and I was just like, "No, what are you talking about?" Then he was basically proceeded to say, "I know you're gay, and I know you don't want your family to know." At the time, I was like in the closet. I feel like everybody that has Caribbean parents know how it is coming out to Caribbean parents. So that was one of my biggest fears growing up. Like, with that being said, halfway through the trip, when the trip was finishing, I fell asleep and I woke up and
So
like his hands.
how old were you? How old were you at that time?
I was around 17.
17.
I was around like 17.
Okay.
Um,
I don't know how to
so then I woke
turn.
up.
They're telling me to turn off the comments, but I don't know how to. How do I turn off the comments, guys?
I'm not
This is
sure.
let me see question, no question. How do I turn the comments off? This I request
Honestly,
to go.
the comments is not bothering me because
Okay.
this is something that, like, if I wanted to speak about this, I could have spoke about this before when it happened. I would have never waited years. My mother just found out 2 years ago. This
Right.
happened in 2017.
Yeah.
So after that incident happened, I woke up and I seen his hands on me. It was kind of, I pushed him away, and it was like I stayed to myself the rest of the ride.
So just to
And
be clear, you're saying he knew that he knew what you were,
right,
and him come and try use
correct,
against you. So at the
yeah,
time he knew, but your family did not know.
correct. With that being said, after that trip, I think we stopped at his house in Delaware, where I think we met his wife or whatever the case is. Um, that day, he went about his way. We went back home, or whatever the case is. Couple months later, almost a year.
They said
Um,
you should clear it up. Were you 17 or 16? Because they heard at the time when you met him you were 16.
I was turning 17.
Okay.
So with that being said, and I said 2016 is when I met him and when I went on the trip.
Right.
The whole incident to where everything happened, it happened later on in 2017 because we seen him again. My
Yeah.
mom was cool
So
with
he
him.
molested you in 2017, but you met him in
Correct.
2016. But you're getting there to the story. We just want to
Correct.
clear that up.
Right. I'm just trying to explain
How
the little
everything
things that
happened.
happened that led there.
Okay.
Um, with that being said, there was an incident to where me and my mom, we fell out and we was talking for like 6 months. One day I got called over to my mom's house because we lived at two separate houses. Like, if you know, well, most people that know where I'm from in Brooklyn, where my family stayed at. So I got called over there. He was there. My mom was there. My best friend, a tattoo artist, was there. We was all getting tattoos. I didn't get one or whatever. Because that's the same time my best friend got a tattoo. My mom got a tattoo. With
Mhm.
that being said, the night was getting low, and at the time, I guess he wasn't gonna drive back to Maryland or wherever he was staying at the time.
Mhm.
So he was trying to find a hotel. With that being said, my mom asked me, which at the time she didn't know how I felt towards him, because after that first incident, I tried to make sure like I always stayed far. I ended up having to basically show him where the hotel was, or drive with him to go to the hotel, and he was supposed to basically Uber me back home. We went, we live in Brooklyn, past the hotel in Brooklyn, and we ended up at a hotel in Queens. Um, with that being said, when I got him to the hotel, I was like, okay, so am I going back home now? And he was like, no. As far as like the in between conversations, like it wasn't much of it because it was nerve wracking. It was like I was told to drop your head. Me knowing how it was or whatever the case is, I necessarily didn't want to be around this dude at all. What made everything kind of transpire is because he told me that he was gonna tell my family about me being gay. And for me and my family, that would have probably been the biggest like falling out. It would have been a whole issue. And at the time, I'm 17. I have nowhere to stay for my own, or whatever the case is. With that being said, one thing led to the next, to where it's like I wasn't able to leave or get home until I did what he told me to do. Even straight
So when
down
you
to
got
it,
to the
like,
to the hotel, you said you weren't able to leave.
yeah, like we was in Queens at the time. Like my mom, she had gave him money because she was giving him money as well. So I was the one that had the funds on me.
So your mom gave him the money.
Correct. And I'm gonna just point out, like my mom, like at the time, still at that time, she didn't know anything that was happening. So one thing led to the next, to the point where it's like he did what he did, and I don't really, I don't know why people would think that I'm lying, because for me to sit here and make up such a drastic story is ridiculous.
What did he do
Even
to
to the
you?
point,
You say he did what he did, but please tell the world what he did to you.
so he raped me, like he molested me, like it was to the point where it's like even before he started it, he was trying to find a condom and couldn't find one, and he reached for a plastic bag. Um,
What?
I don't get how y'all can
What?
sit here and say shit like that. Like, first of all, my mom didn't know what was happening. My mom found out. First of all, my mom didn't even know I was gay. My mom didn't find out that I was gay until years after the
God
situation.
Almighty, man. God Almighty. The blood of Jesus is up against that man. May I tell you, hey, me say this is a spiritual warfare, and me I tell you, it's God about the devil, but the blood of Jesus is against that man. He held
And
you down and raped and raped you.
there's a few things that, so what made me kind of keep quiet about it, aside from my family or whatever the case is, it was like his way of trying to keep me quiet about the situation at the time. I think after the situation, he had sent my mother money to give to me. Um, like he just went on like it wasn't an issue. He was texting me, still trying to talk to me or whatever the case is. And it was just like, for me, I was just traumatized that it happened because, yeah, I'm gay, bisexual, like, but I didn't ask for this man to do what he did.
So he knew that you were gay or bisexual, and he took that to his advantage because you came from a Jamaican
Yeah.
household. So he know you wouldn't want to talk about it.
He knew I didn't want to talk about it because when we was in that Miami trip and he pointed it out, the whole conversation that was had in that gas station was the fact that I did not want my family to know about it.
So he took
I didn't tell my mother about it until a year and a half after I came out to my mother. I came out to my mother after COVID, the end of the 2020, 21. And then I didn't speak about that situation until after. And I just spoke about it because growing up, like it was stuff to where my mom went through something like that. So when I felt comfortable enough, it was like she was the only person I could talk to about it. And I wasn't talking to her about it to sit here and go through all of this. I was talking to her to get it off my chest. See, like everybody, like if people know that my grandmother, my family that I come from, it is strict. Like certain things they don't play with.
no, I'm
So it's
from
like,
Jamaica, so I understand. People who's not from Jamaica may not understand, but a Jamaica me come from. So I understand what you mean when you're saying you come from a strict family who would probably be against, who you are.
and,
So I understand, I get it. And
and I
that's
feel
why
like,
even me as a Jamaican woman who's always advocating and fighting for my fans who are gay, I'm happy you found comfort in me to want to talk to me about it.
And one of the reasons why I even choose to speak up about it now is because, like I said, I didn't want anyone to know. I wasn't ready to sit here and talk about this. When this came out, the person that called me was a family friend, and what she was speaking, it made it seem like she knew what happened. So I felt a little comfortable telling her, but I didn't know I was being recorded. I didn't know I was gonna wake up to my voice all over social media. I didn't sit here and ask for this.
You
I kept that shit to
didn't.
myself for years because I know how it is. Like, people speak up, and the first thing is I'm looking in the comments, it's like, yeah, I'm gay, but that don't mean that's the right for me to be molested or
It's not.
raped by somebody. Like,
It, it's not. It didn't give him any right to rape you. And I'm so sorry you went through that as a child. I'm
and
so sorry.
my thing about it, while I'm speaking, even more while I'm speaking about it now, is because with that recording that's sent out against, because I did not sit there and know that she was recording me. So with that recording and everybody coming up with their own assumptions and dragging my sister and my mother in it, and it's just like, my mother really ain't know. The same people that he just paid to go see my grandmother didn't know until yesterday. I
Wow.
begged my mother not to say nothing because I didn't want to go through this. I'm a very quiet and reserved person, and this is a lot of attention for no reason. And not for no reason, but it's just like, I refuse to sit there and have what was done to me twist and turn and chopped and screwed when that wasn't how it is. He know exactly what he did. And it's like, if he's doing it to other people, why is it so hard to believe that this is something that he did? Like, at the time, he was using my mother for money, so he kept her close. So he was making sure he was in her ear.
I want you to say that, just that one line again. He was using your mother for what?
He was using my mother for money. When she stopped sending the money, he got irritated. And that's around the same time where he was sitting there blasting and
Because
going off. Like,
that's what he goes around and do to people. He did the
and
same thing to me. Use you
nobody
for
can't,
money, and when
anybody
you
that know
realize
me,
that he's a liar and he's a manipulator and he's trying to use you, then
any
he wants to tarnish you. When he can't have his way with you, he try to tear you down.
and anybody that know me, I didn't do this. I'm not doing this for no recognition or no money. If that's the case, I would have did this when it happened. Everybody that know the family that I come from, my mother got money. My mother loaded. Same reason why he wanted to be around her. The same reason why he wanted to sit there and be close. I just don't like how it was approached because I feel like if that same person that recorded me would have just pulled me aside and called me and be like, yo, so he did this to a few other people. Like, you feel like you're ready to speak about it? Let me decide what I want to talk about. It's my pain. It's my trauma.
So you kept that pain and you didn't talk about it. It was
No,
until that the recording that
the
I
rec-
played with the person
yeah.
that you didn't know.
I woke up and I see the recording all over and people DMing me and this, that, and the third. And it's just like, where this coming from? And this is exactly why most people don't get up and talk about certain stuff that they go through, because it's always like, you can't put a time when somebody's going to speak up on their trauma and when they was hurt, when they was put in a position where they, bro, like, and then knowing that you gay on top of it, ain't nobody gonna believe you. Ain't nobody gonna sit there. Like, it took me a time to tell my mother, and it was a process because first I had to come out and tell her that I was gay. And I
What
did
does
that
your
because I couldn't live with knowing that certain, I don't like when things are used or held above me. Like, I understand what everybody was trying to do with the recordings and stuff like that. I just felt like I should have had the space to properly be able to do this and explain what it was because I wasn't ready. This recording surfaced months ago. I've been blocking and removing people from my page because my peace is getting disrupted. I had to move. I moved from New York to Florida. When this recording came out, it was in Florida, and when I figured out, somebody mentioned that he lives in Florida. where you think I'm at now? I moved. The whole point is to stay away from this man, to stay off his radar. I have him blocked on everything for a reason.
What
So it's
has
like,
your life been like after he did that to you? Why do you keep moving? Are you still afraid of him?
I mean,
Because
when I
I'm
found
here to
out
tell
he
you.
was,
Let me tell you something. I'm here to tell you there's nothing to be afraid of. He's a liar. He's a scammer. He ain't no fucking Obia man. Him can't do
and
nothing. He's not talking to no spirit. There's
now,
one God. Do
now
not
that
let him
I'm,
put no fear into you.
now that I'm
Don't make
older,
him put no fear into you.
I realize what you're saying. But when I was younger, and him prophesizing certain things and predicting certain things or being right with certain things,
He didn't
it
predict this,
made
did he?
me
Did he predict
feel
that
as
you are
though
going to get the strength one day to come out and talk
I
your truth? Did he
don't
predict this?
think I don't think he ever thought that I would have came out and said
Okay.
something.
Don't let him tell you him can predict nothing because him couldn't predict him own future. Him never predicts when him come out on social media and try to go up against me that all of this would have come back round at his footstep. Him never predict this. He used what he, because let me tell you something. I met that man as a pastor. I tell people this already and I don't know if they believe me. Meet him as a pastor Smith. And he came around me and him try to manipulate people's mind. All of the people that is picking up for him is because the same thing he did to you, he's doing to them, which is telling them things and they believe it. Say, oh, him a prophet, him can see things I seen in the future. I'm a spirit. Him a over man, then I want him over me, so them a pick up for him. He uses that as his power. Don't make him make you feel like, say, if him did a pray to some spirit, what make the spirit can't do nothing for him? Don't make him put no fear in a yeah, move up and down and afraid and him can't do nothing to you. God is above mankind. You hear me?
Yeah,
I've
this is
never been, yo, I'm telling you, say,
this people just gotta understand. Sometimes when it comes to certain things like this, it's a lot more that comes to it than just speaking out. It's the embarrassment that comes with it. It's the shame. It's the
I
hate
know.
comments. It's people sitting there telling that you lying. Like
Let
I
me tell you
don't.
something. I don't know you. I can see the hurt in your eyes. I can see the embarrassment, but there's nothing to be ashamed of because you were great molested as a child. It was something that was taken from you. You didn't have control of it. It was nothing that you did to yourself. But now that you're older and now that you're wiser, now that you're a man, you know what I'm saying? Now you're speaking your truth and you're living in your truth. Don't stay home and make nobody make you sad and depressed. This is your truth. This is your story. So I'm happy that you were willing to tell your story for yourself. The only thing I'm sorry that you didn't report it because people like that deserve to be off the streets.
If I would have sat there and reported it, my whole family would have found out, and it would have been based. Sad to say, and it's not a bash against my family, but they really do look at how they're viewed. So not only would it put me on the spotlight, but it would have put a spotlight on my family too.
Wow.
Literally, my
It's
grandmother
not,
didn't find out this until yesterday. The only person I knew was my mom, and the same person that recorded it, me and my mom, was my mom's friend, and I really thought we were. For me to sit there and open up to her about that, I thought we was on a different level. You know, I didn't expect for this to happen. I wasn't. This was not
I'm proud
an
I'm
end
I'm
goal for
proud
me.
of your big up to your mom because I'm proud of your mom for supporting you. Like for you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. From I told her, she's made it easier living with that because it's easier to relate.
I feel like you still should report it. I feel like if you put it into the law's hand, they will be able to pull the footage from that hotel. I feel
And
like you
that's the
should still be
thing.
able
That's
to
the thing.
report it.
Like these simple things like that, footage, camera, all of that, like all of that can be pulled up. And
Yes.
it's a shame that I don't have my other, like the phone that I had back then. I don't have it no more. So even the messages between us and stuff like that,
The phone company can
it's
get back the
everything.
message that
It's
the phone
there.
com-
This is not something that's just.
all of what you're saying, you may not be able to get it back, but once you start that case, everything will come full circle. The police have a way of finding everything. That's not even your worry. Your worry is to make that first move of reporting it.
I just feel like it has to stop because
It has to stop and it shouldn't have started.
multiple people is speaking about the same thing with this dude.
And people
And
still
these are
supporting him.
all the people that he's been around. You can't all be sitting here saying the same thing about the one person.
And there's so many other people who's afraid to come forward and speak.
I was scared too. I got forced to come out and speak. I wasn't ready to speak what happened. And I know that I guess I probably made me look bad, but it's what I went through. So it's like I won't, and I'm not gonna sit there and let everybody lie on or try to twist and turn what I've been through. Like I have no reason to be sitting here and lying, and these stories that everybody coming up with is real far fetched. Because even as far as my mother in Jamaica, like when me and my mother went to Jamaica, we wasn't dealing with this man. We stayed on a villa the whole time. It was me, my cousin, my sister, and my aunt that live in Jamaica. The second time when my mother went to Jamaica and she happened to glimpse him in Jamaica, I was living in Miami. She was there with my best friend. I wasn't even around her at the time.
What has your life been like after he molested you?
I
Do you
mean,
live in fear? Like, do you feel like
I feel like
what? How are you
fear,
mentally? How
the
are you?
fear, the fear part of it only comes when I find out that he's even, like, if I find out that we in the same state, it bothers me. If I find out that he has access to see my day to day, it bothers me. At the time, I couldn't really do nothing but push through. Like at the end of the day, people that know me that regardless of what I go through, I'm gonna still get up and still prosper and still push and do what I have to do. So
RT
yeah,
molested
it's
you,
been there.
so I'm just saying. I hope people who know you and when they see you, they refer to you as a hero because that's who you are. This what you're doing is brave. Ain't nobody gonna come out and put them face on social media and talk, say, oh, a man molested them. So RT molested you, and him fear live in a shame. You know fear hold on your head and live in a shame. He molested you. RT is the one that should be behind bars. Fear rape you at your age. He's a pedophile. We tell people that and them talk about, oh, whatever, but you're living in your truth now. Now you're a hero for all the other people that do it, and I hope the other people that he did it to is willing to come out behind you and speak them truth because I'm more than one person do it to.